We obviously knew about Butcher's dad beating him when he was younger from the comics and from what they implied earlier in the episodes. But this is the first time we actually saw it with our own eyes. You see a mother who is barely hanging on to dear life to be able to protect her children. You see how Butcher knew he would get beaten, but still choose that over the beating on his little brother. There's hatred, violence, and monstrosity in his father's eyes. Butcher didn't even cry. He just lay there and took it for his brother. And obviously, this had happened so many times before that Lenny just didn't even say anything either. He just sat down beside Butcher and wiped the blood off of his lips. This is too depressing for me, if I'm honest. I mean, I never really liked Butcher. He always get your hopes up that he would do the right thing, but never did. Not exactly the most lovable chaps in the world, but now I see there was never even a chance for him to be anyone other than the person that he turned out to be. And that's incredibly sad. Violence or rage are all he knew and all he's capable of doing. Domestic violence victims more than often would become domestic violence enforcer later in their lives. The way he abused Lenny verbally, he learned that from his father.
Billy, please, leave off! For fuck's sake, Lenny! It ain't my job to look after you! Don't be such a fucking puff all your life!
Boy, you ought to take a page out of his book. You don't want to be a fucking little puff all your life.
Sometimes without realizing, we inherited traits from our parents or even grandparents, and it doesn't matter if we love or hate it. It's not something that it's ours to change. That is tragic. What's even more tragic was that we never really had any say in that. We just learned it so naturally from so many years spent with our family. Butcher hurt so many people so many times. He contributed in the death of his little brother, and he would still sacrifice Huey. He knew death is the side effect of Temp V, and he didn't even tell Huey. He knew him and Huey dying would be a real possibility if they took more. And although it came from a place of caring, he deeply hurt Becca's son by verbally abusing him as well.
Maybe I don't want to look at you. After what you've done to my Becca, did you ever think about that?
The trauma is intergenerational. I always remember the first time when I watched Beatrice Horseman's story on BoJack Horseman. We obviously hated her before, hated the way that she treated BoJack, but she can't love him. She experienced a trauma that turned her mother into a scary monster firsthand. So you bet your ass she's gonna remember it when her mom to tell her to never love someone like that, so she wouldn't become her. And that had affected BoJack in that he can't love anyone else either. He always trying to destroy a good relationship where the other person tries to love him. He hurt so many people in his life because his grandma is depressed after his uncle died. I mean, something that happened 100 years' time still has lasting effect on people that wasn't even involved. How about that?
Why, I have half a mind